Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Two Men in Black and White as we continue our coverage from Salt Lake City, Utah, of the shooting of Charlie Kirk and the subsequent fallout. There was apparently in Salt Lake City a news organization truck belonging to the Fox affiliate in Salt Lake City. I believe it was KUTV, I believe. Nonetheless, it was a Fox affiliate, but not owned by Rupert Murdoch. It's owned by the Scripps organization. Good station out there, good reputation, used to do good reporting. I'm not sure what they're doing now, but someone put an explosive device underneath one of their news gathering trucks, set it to detonate. However, whatever happened, it didn't detonate. So luckily no one was hurt, but they did make a couple of arrests. And apparently, from the last thing I read, these were a couple of anti-Trumpers. So Brock Canellis joins me now live from outside outside New York City in the beautiful Hudson River Valley. Brock, what are we doing now? These are anti-Trumpers bombing the Fox affiliate. I know the branding gets messed up. People think it's, Neil Cavuto is going to pop up or Hannity or Ingraham is going to show up on one of these stations, but they really have nothing to do with the station except for the programming. So why would more right-wing extremists be going after their main propaganda network? I don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe they think some of the commentary is not aggressive enough. As the shooter apparently, and as Nick Fuente's whole posse of white supremacist Nazis didn't think Charlie Kirk was, in essence, aggressive enough.
Which is
right?
frightening in and of itself, is it? I mean, how scary is that? That's pretty scary, bro.
Yeah, that's some hardcore. I mean, I've watched some Nick Fuente's, film over the last couple of days. Knew he was out there, didn't know much about him, but he's pretty unabashed about what his stance is. So if he gets shot, I hope we're not going to whitewash his legacy also. I mean, he's flat out white supremacy, flat out racism, flat out anti-Semitism. Like, he just has a vision of America that is, Hitler Youth 1935.
Right.
This is who they are. I can't explain to you the infighting amongst them and why one killed another and why there'll probably be more violence on that side of the ledger. Of course, the politicians are trying to play it off as a crackdown on the left, but, as we talk about, we can barely get the left out to protest. So we're, pretending like the left has some sort of like intimidating armies roaming around is the least of the issues. We can't even fucking get people to vote in line on some fucking stuff, right? So we're the most passive group in the world right now, getting stomped on by Project 2025. So that's all fucking bullshit. And I saw some JD Vance clips today, and I'm just like, stop the horse shit. Fucking own it. Own your beliefs. Don't try to lie to us. Don't come out and say Charlie Kirk never said that black women couldn't process and didn't deserve jobs.
Right.
We watched the tape. He said it. We can roll it again. Don't go out and tell us bold-faced lies about things we can just see with our own eyes. I understand how propaganda works. Trump's great at it. JD Vance is not good at it. So just stop with the bullshit. Own what your movement is all about. That's where I am today. I'm just tired of the propaganda and the gamesmanship and the performative anger and all the shit that's come after the Charlie Kirk shooting. Instead of, MAGA and Project 2025 just owning what they're all about. Like, this is a white supremacy movement. We get it.
Right. What is the holdup here? Why can't they own it? What the fuck are they so mad about, Brock? Okay, you wanted your country back. You got it. You got the presidency, you got the Senate, you got the House. Every single member is doing whatever Trump says in lockstep. So you can do whatever you want. You killed DEI. You got rid of that. You don't want black and brown folks around. You got your immigration policy, if that's what you want to call it. I mean, you got what you want. You got your country back. What are you so fucking mad about, right? You don't want people to be able to express themselves freely and their free speech. So you want to crack down on your political enemies because they don't agree with you in the United States of America. You just lost, $4 billion in investment in Georgia because of your racism. Why aren't you owning it? Why aren't you owning? Are you upset because South Korea is going to take their $4 billion maybe to Germany or to some other, you know, industrialized nation? Somebody else is going to get that money, right? They're going to build that plant someplace else, or they can just,
Yeah, they're making the
build their
batteries.
cars at home.
Yeah,
And we
the
can
batteries.
pay for it.
The batteries are going to
Yeah,
get
we can just
made,
pay
right? The
more.
cars are going to get made. It's just where's the money going to flow and who's going to be the beneficiary of that investment. I mean, Trump had the gall to be out saying, "Oh, we don't want to scare away companies from coming here." It's like, who cares
Too
that you
late.
fucking said that? It's exactly what you're doing. Like, you can say that, but we watched all these South Korean guys in fucking ankle and wrist chains as if they had just committed mass murder
Right.
because they were working at a battery plant. But like that's just once again not owning the policy. Oh, we don't want to scare companies away. The funniest thing I saw on that is someone said, "Oh no, we're sorry. We didn't mean to treat you like you were Latino workers.
Right.
Your Asian workers are bad."
Right. Oh, Brock, I forgot. They even have the Supreme Court, right? Willing to say that it's okay for SEAL Team 6 to go out and kill one of their political rivals.
And
Right?
racially
Racially
profile
profile whoever
anyone
you
at any
want.
point in time.
Yeah, whoever you want. Just pull them over because you don't like their accent. You don't like the brownness of their skin tone. Get the fuck out of here. And then, look, all these racist towns. Remember Vidor, Texas? Forsyth County, Georgia? Black people weren't moving to these places. They got no tax base. You can't do anything when you're racist and you know it and you're here to show it. Don't expect people to spend their money in your town, in your county. Racism does not pay. Citibank did a study on it. What did they say? That cost the U.S. economy $16 trillion because of its racism over the last 25 years.
Yeah.
That's just since 2000. I mean, Brock, come on, man. Like, at what point does America say, you know what? It ain't really worth it. Because for most folks, well, a lot of folks that I know, the only color that matters is green. And if you don't want a fair and just society, then you don't really want to make money. You don't really want to share the wealth. There's enough to go around. It said, is 1,100 new millionaires being created every day? Every day. I
I
don't
think the top
get it.
I think the top of the MAGA movement is about money, but I think the rank and file is about
The racism.
racism.
Yep.
And I think it's more important to them than the money. They want that little piece of power. They're all doing shitty, right? Most of America's doing terrible, right? There's no middle class. Like most of it is America's scraping by, right? We always hear about everyone's like one paycheck away from poverty, right?
Right.
Two paychecks away from homuslessness when the Fox guys want to lethally inject you, right?
Right.
So no one's
Right.
got any cushion. But America still, much of America still just wants to feel a little bit of power and a little bit of an edge over the people of color down the street. It's more important than the actual quality of life. Like that aspect is more important than quality of life in too many Americans. But what I'm waiting for, because I'm tired of hearing about how crazy the Groypers are versus the fucking tipping point guys and like who's more racist than the other, and politicians like Spencer Cox and JD Vance trying to whitewash what these people are really saying. But you only have to spend a couple minutes watching any of the clips to know what they're all about.
Right.
I'm waiting for the sane white America and black America and other people of color to move to a post-propaganda America and just wake the fuck up. That you're sitting in the midst of a white supremacy takeover of the country. You can't ride. There is no riding it out. There's no hiding from it. There's no other people are going to stop it. If we don't get together and snip this in the bud, we're going to be steamrolled because these people have a clear agenda.
Yeah.
This is
Absolutely.
to whitewash this country. And this message also, I would say, to fucking Jewish America, to think that you can ride to be MAGA adjacent because you like some of the policies of the Trump administration in the Middle East being pro-Israel, you are going to get so fucking steamrolled. Go listen to Nick Fuentes for about 5 minutes and then listen to Hitler and figure out whether you can find the difference.
Right.
These fuckers want no part of Jews in America either. We will be in fucking concentration camps again. So it's time to wake the fuck up.
And before we move on to Black America demanding that they wake up, what is this Jewish thing about? I, I didn't know the difference between Jews and white people until I was probably 25, 24. I I mean, I didn't know who was Jewish, who was well, I knew who was Italian because we grew up in New York. You know what I mean? Forget about it. But I didn't know who was this or who was that. Maybe the names told me, but like I didn't know Goldstein was a Jewish name till I was like 25.
Most people did though, and a lot of people who are anti-Semitic were more in tune with it and did know that. Jews in America do very well, right? Jews in America live a good life. We're a wealthy, culture in this country.
Okay.
But it really ties around to, and it's funny, what's her name? Hannah Fassbinder or whatever from the Hacks made a comment at the Emmys last night when she won, and she articulated it afterwards because she's an American Jew who's in essence, pro Free Palestine movement because she doesn't like what Israel is doing in terms of the bombing of Gaza. So that's where it's gotten controversial because, people like me think that Israel has massively done overreach in retaliation to the October 7th terrorist act. But why is that stance there? Is because Jews are so concerned about the protection of Israel because Jews only have, it is the only country where a lot of Jews feel safe. And the belief is, the Jews need their own nation because they're persecuted and killed when they're outside of their homeland. America is one of the only other places that Jews have felt comfortable. And obviously a lot of that goes back to the fact that Jews in Europe got pretty much wiped out in World War II. So then in 1948, they created Israel. So Jews are concerned about, like me, who's not even a religious person, wants there to be an Israel that's a sovereign state that is in essence, a safe haven for Jews. And of course, because it's a democracy, it's been and because a lot of Jews in America, it's been a natural ally of America. But now, Netanyahu is a fucking madman in the way Trump's a madman. So it gets hard to be pro-Israel when they're, yes, they have the right to protect themselves, but like when is it past protection? I would argue when it's a bunch of kids online for food, trying not to starve to death, and they're getting bombed or shot, it's like, come on, you're no longer protecting your country at this point.
Right.
It's a fucking bridge too far. And that's a lot of the controversy that's going on.
Gotcha.
Okay. That's why a lot of Jews will be pro-MAGA, because Trump is so hands-off, right? We're still pumping money to Israel. They're still buying arms, and Trump is just like, do whatever you want, Netanyahu. Go to town, right?
Right. Especially that bombing in Qatar. That was, that's going to change the whole trajectory of this thing, I feel like. But yeah, thanks for clearing that up for me and giving me some clarity on that, because I've literally never understood it, from the time, we were in high school. I just thought you were a good kid. I didn't know you were Jewish. I thought you.
There's a lot of anti-Semitism. To me, it feels like random. And I don't know why. There's no reason behind it, but there's no reason behind any biases. Right. They just come about. I don't know. I'm not a religious person. I'm not steeped in religion that well. But because the Jews killed Jesus Christ, apparently, way back in the day, is that, But the problem is the persecution of Jews had started even before that. Right. They were slaves in Egypt back in the day. So.
Well, and too, Brock, when you look at it, a lot of this stuff, this hatred is taught in the home, right? A lot of this is what's being parroted from what kids hear, especially the stuff when we were in school, when school kids are hearing stuff that's parroted at home, right? Kids don't like broccoli at the end of recess, the end of gym class, having to go to the dentist. That's the shit kids don't like. Kids see other kids and they're like, oh, playtime. They're not saying, oh, that kid's a Jew, I'm not playing with him. Oh, that kid's black, I'm not playing. No, they're going to play with each other until they learn they're not supposed to be playing with a child.
Taught behavior.
Or a child.
All these things are taught behaviors.
It's learned in the house. And I couldn't do it. And my parents didn't do it. I know your parents didn't do it. And I don't understand how you burden a child with that kind of hate. And think about it. we've got a guy who was just murdered, and one of the things that he said, as you mentioned at the top of the show, was disparaging black women about their ability to process. Black women are the most educated segment of society right now. Black women are getting more educated than anybody else in America right now. That's why they don't want to fund HBCUs anymore. That's why they want to get rid of all the scholarships for black folks. That's why there's an attack on education, especially in the black and brown communities, right? Especially at Howard. Oh, we don't want any more of these, in Harvard, with all these Asian students. And think about it, Brock, too. Remember, who pays full freight when they come over here to go to school, right? A lot of these international students are paying full freight. They're writing a check for tuition, right? So this is a way to limit the capacity of some of these upper echelon institutions and the resources that they have, right? To provide a quality education to a diverse student body. And that's what these guys, we want whites only, right? Because whites only will be able to afford it. Black folks are trying to sit it out and saying we're minding our own business. But I'm telling you what, it's just a matter of time before we go back to stop and frisk. Basically, they already said you can do it.
It's coming your way, right? It's
no
like
doubt.
When people,
no doubt.
It's coming, so you might as well start preparing for it. And we're going to have to be this unified force that we've talked about for like 8 months. We're going to have to unify, come together, and beat back this extremism, because it has a strategy, and it's implementing it, and it's currently in power. It's minority rule in America, but it's coming for everyone. Look, black women have already been cut at the knees, right? They've been fired the most, so economically they've been hamstrung. Project 2025 has taken a hatchet out of the economic well-being of black women. It was targeted. So yeah, they got more educated. They were improving themselves and improving their lot in life and their quality of life here in America. Racism didn't like that. Project 2025 put a plan in place. They called it Doji, right? They kind of give it some fucking name and pretend like it was something it wasn't, right? Some sort of, cutting fraud out of the system, right? They made up some bullshit and they targeted black women. So you can't sit it out. Like you can't say you're tired. You can't not be involved, because it's coming for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, these MAGA folks don't care, man. You know what I mean? That they're just either you're with us or you're against us is their kind of mantra. And who knows how far they're willing to escalate, the opportunity to, basically cash in on Charlie Kirk's murder. Who knows what they're willing to do? I saw scenes where they were trying to hang a young black man on a college campus. A bunch of white kids had surrounded him. Who knows what's next?
We know how violent it can get.
We saw it on January 6th.
It's going to get more violent. That's where it's headed. It's not going to get less violent, right? No. It's not like who's calming it down, right? Trump's inflaming it every chance he gets. We're hiring more ICE agents and handing them advanced weaponry every day. They're being sent to more cities every day. The rhetoric there. So, killed the guy the other day. So, it's happening. So, Jews need to get their minds straight. The Jewish community, Black America needs to realize that,
ain't going nowhere.
Kamala Harris losing the election is such ancient history, it doesn't matter. There's kind of a tsunami coming their way. Latinos have already seen it. I still don't, I feel like they've almost under-protested against extremely targeted effort against them. They haven't even rallied yet in force.
Right. But you know what I feel like? I feel like they're not rallying for fear of bringing attention to themselves and being booted out. You know what I mean? You'd see a large rally of Latinos. What's the first thing, the response is going to be? Just start grabbing people, locking them up and sending them to some prison off in El Salvador. But At this point, we can't afford to wait and see if that's going to happen, or take the
I know.
chance to see if that's going to
That's
happen, or we let this clown car stay in charge, dismantling this country on a daily basis. Now look who we've got cozying up to each other: North Korea, China, and Russia. I mean, they're best buds now, right? Look at the unholy alliance we created. We did that.
well, we pushed India towards them. Right now, there's
Yes.
more of a dialogue of India somehow because we didn't they didn't kiss the ring enough. So that's even on the international front. On the domestic front, that's how intimidation works, right? So yeah, no one wants to be out there because they're worried they're going to get cracked down on today. Well, tomorrow it's going to be harder. The next day it's going to be even harder, right? And the day after it's going to be even harder because the force against you is going to be bigger, and you're just going to get weeded out in small increments or every day, so that you're not as strong. So every day that we don't have a really massive counter force, we're moving another step towards a white supremacy. And I gotta say, the Charlie Kirk murder to me has been more of a wake up to what is going on in the ultra right
Right.
than it has been anything else, right? It's had me maybe start looking at paying closer attention to something that I wanted to maybe just compartmentalize to the fringes.
Right.
But if we're gonna put flags at half staff for Charlie Kirk, this shit ain't at the fringes, right?
Ooh.
That fucker's gonna be in the rotunda in Washington, right?
Lying in state.
And all these and people are gonna get fired left and right for, God forbid, they post something negative about Charlie fucking Kirk. Like, this white supremacy is mainstream, right? Like we gotta really pay even. Everyone has to pay closer attention to what's going on in that Nick Fuentes world, because that world is, wielding a lot of power. And
Power. Did you see what happened at the Washington Post? The African American opinion writer, female,
Absolutely.
posted his words, and was fired.
I thought she should have quit months ago. I thought she should have quit months ago, but I'm sure she
Absolutely.
thought, like, I can do more good by staying here. Like,
Right,
she didn't
yeah.
see enough of this shit, right?
Right,
When they wouldn't
right.
endorse Kamala, and what's his name? The other guy, Charles, the other opinion writer, left. But anyone with a sense, like, fuck the Washington Post. No one should be subscribed to that piece of shit.
At all.
Okay, but she hung in, but it was a matter of time till
Right.
they got her. It just,
Right.
what were they gonna?
Just
When
wait.
were they gonna get her? Right?
Right.
When she wasn't surviving in that job for the long term. But
And
you
she
can't
definitely
even
wasn't
say
surviving.
Charlie Kirk's words back to him. JD Vance is out telling us that he didn't say what we just watched a videotape of. It's an embarrassment, but it's propaganda.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's out there saying that 87% of the political violence in America is completed by the lunatic left wing.
Yeah, I mean,
Where would you
somebody
get a
wrote
stat?
that shit for him, right? Somebody wrote, some Project 2025 fucker wrote that for him, and he's just the mouthpiece out saying it. It doesn't even make sense. Everyone knows that's a lie, except for the people on the right. This is just a propaganda effort to mobilize people on the right. But you know what? They're getting mobilized, and
Right.
they're winning.
Right.
So what are we going to do on the left to counter mobilize?
Yeah. Well, it's not like we're going to be able to go to the ballot box. I mean, I did hear a congressional candidate here in Georgia say that we would be, but I don't see how. I don't see how they're going to, knowing what the data says, right? We're not big fans of polls here, but I mean, even if they're 10 points off, Republicans are still 30, 40 points underwater. And so I don't know how they let an election take place. Not a fair one,
I don't know how anyone can make that argument. I didn't hear what this woman or man said to you that, the elections are going to be fair. What are they saying? Don't worry about it. It's going to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Based
the
on
states are going to run the elections.
So we should trust the state.
Right.
Number one is, how did they even know that the state's going to run the election? Tomorrow, Trump may come out and say, we're going to federalize all these elections.
Exactly.
What are they going to do about it? Is the Georgia militia going to fight the U.S. government? No, they'd roll over. Number two is, can you even trust the state that the people in the jobs at the state level are really going to safeguard the elections after, purge the voter rolls
Right.
4 years ago?
Right.
So, you can't reassure me that it's going to be, that they're even going to happen or that they're going to be fair. You can't, because no one really knows. And no one's in the position of power in order to make it true. The only assurance that they'll be fair is if there's mass protests on the streets.
Right.
That would be the only thing, because you got to fight power with power. Otherwise, it could just get steamrolled.
Right.
I mean, Putin could come out and say it's going to be fair elections. Are the Russian people like, oh, yeah, oh, wow, it's going to be a fair election this time? Who cares what people say? They have no fucking influence and power. Till the people rally, we're just pawns on the board, man. We are not bishops and rooks and queens.
No.
We are pawns on the board, just getting fucking knocked over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not optimistic today, Mark.
No, it's the death of expertise, with these morons, and with MAGA strong. I mean, you can be a former podcaster and go to FBI director. You can get any job you want, even if you're not qualified. Hell, we got a president that ain't qualified. We got a first lady that ain't qualified.
Oh, come on. RFK, Linda McMahon.
Oh my God.
Patel, Nino. I mean, none of these people have in any way or even close to qualified for any of the jobs they have.
At all. It's a fucking clown car cabinet, as we've called it.
But JD Vance is on that podcast to talk to the people that they need.
Right.
To make this white supremacy takeover happen, for to line their pockets, because there's a small cadre of people that are making a ton of money off of running this country.
Right. What has Trump made? 40% of his wealth in the last 8 months?
I mean, then there's an article today about how much money he made off of allowing one of those Middle Eastern countries to get AI chips, and then a ton of money flowed into his crypto operation. I mean, it's such a fucking corrupt, regime we have going on. But JD Vance is on there because they need that group to stay in line, right? They don't want that group shooting at the president or at JD Vance, right? So they got to make sure that those crazies are still on board with the powers that be. Because obviously they turned on Charlie Kirk when he asked for the Epstein files. Yeah. Rumor and, right? So JD Vance is on that podcast to talk to those people to be like, we're looking out for you. That was all messaging. But, of course, he was lying.
No doubt. Because that's all they ever do. And second, the Epstein files ain't going anywhere. I mean, Charlie Kirk is going to be old news quite quickly. I mean, look, the news cycle will dictate that. We're going to be moving on here in the next day or two. After his funeral, we're back to the Epstein files, baby. And we're back to let him go. And, Kash Patel's not going anywhere. Bongino's not going anywhere. They've seen the Epstein files. So, unless he's got another ambassadorship for those guys, right, where he moves them from one place to the other and keeps their pay the same, keeps themselves Trump adjacent, they're not going anywhere. Trump doesn't want anybody with any intimate knowledge of those Epstein files running off here, getting a hair up their ass and deciding to, let some files go. He's trying to keep all those birds in the nest.
This Kirk's story's already lasted longer than I thought it would. And it's been a fantastic diversion for Trump because he's gotten a week off from having to answer questions about Epstein. But yeah, it'll circle back around as long as the Democrats keep that pressure on.
Sure, got to keep going. Dan Goldman's doing a nice job. Jasmine Crockett, it's the usual suspects. But Brock, give me your quick hit. And when do we turn the corner on this Charlie Kirk thing? I mean, it's scary enough that it's already permeated our political process. And now it's permeating the way the country is run. I mean, how much worse can it get?
Okay, I think we turn the corner by tomorrow. I mean, the right wing is still going to latch onto this and focus on it. Right. I'm kind of really curious to see what happens with the Turning Point crew versus the Nick Fuentes crew. Do all the people who were Charlie Kirk followers, sort of float downstream to the even more hardcore Nazi? I think that's what Nick Fuentes hopes for and thinks, and that's probably what's likely to happen. If I was a betting man, though, I bet that his wife becomes a podcaster because now they lost the money machine, that someone tries to step into that breach to keep monetizing. the podcast, like, someone's going to try to step in there because there's a lot of money to be made. You told me it's an $85 million enterprise yesterday. So, like, they're not going to want that to go to zero. But I'm worried that the followers are going to migrate to Fuentes and we're actually even going to get greater radicalization.
Well, it seems that turning up the heat is the way these people are getting attention. Look at the damn near martyrdom that he's experiencing. I mean, I don't know. And this guy was on a Discord, the Discord chat board or whatever it is, chat message room, confessing to the crime 2 days before he turned himself in, thanking everybody for the good times. I mean, who knows what's next? Because law enforcement is not on our side. That's for damn sure.
Law enforcement's lost, and they're all worried about ICE. Like they're worried about rounding up, brown people.
Right.
No one's watching out for the crazies. So we're not catching any of this. Yeah, we're in some dangerous times. And I only hope that the violence, the white on white, right on violence that we just saw in the last week, shakes up the left and the opposition to recognize that this shit is fucking serious and is going to be likely more violent down the road, and we need to band together and unify a hell of a lot quicker. Should have happened yesterday. Better start happening tomorrow because we're going to get our asses kicked if we're not unified.
No doubt.
These fuckers aren't playing around. They got a lot of guns too.
No. All right, good buddy. That's enough for today. I'm going to go put my head under my pillow and try to think of how we can get out of this fucking mess. And got to figure out where I'm getting my COVID shot.
Get your COVID
How you
shot.
feeling? How you feeling?
Yeah, I feel fantastic. COVID didn't buy. Look, we need our COVID shots. We need to be strong for this fight.
No doubt.
We'll let the crazies get infected, right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, bro. Have a great night.
Good stuff, Mark. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Peace.